How about the chase?
Yeah.
The chase. Yeah, that was I'm trying to think of how I think that started by taking so we had these stick hit elements that was in they were in run. They were throughout the whole thing, and we took those same samples and
Which, by the way, we created those
yeah,
samples by hitting drumsticks on any
anything.
any wood that we could find in our room. So,
Yeah.
like, I feel like we took. Oh,
It might have been the desk.
Well, there's a video that I took that's on. I think it's still on my Instagram, but it's of you recording yourself hitting on like a wooden
The
shoe
shoe rack.
So it's just like not instruments. We just kind of got scrappy with that. So that's how we created those samples, first of all.
Yes.
But then
And that was a jumping off point. But that one, we brought in a lot of new elements that we hadn't scored with yet. I feel like there was a new synth that was kind of like this droning pulse that would just like be in the background. And we found, I wish I remember the name of these plugins, but like there's one weird synth that feels like a glitchy high up.
It's part of the Rolly Equator 2
Right.
stuff, I believe.
And we just affected that quite heavily.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that was just a fun one to do because it was, I think sometimes in this series, the action has felt like there's a lot of weight and drama behind it. And for some reason, I feel like this one felt like we had a little bit more liberty to have fun with it. Because it was just, it's just the cops, like, I don't know. It's like, it's not Terminator anymore. It's like, she can outrun the cop, like, she can do this. So it's like, it felt more fun. So we kind of went a little wild with it.
And then we had to create a second one. We got, you go away from them, those two characters, and then you come back to them and they're still in the chase.
They're still doing it.
So we had to create a whole other chase, which we call the chase part 2. And we wanted to vary it as well. So.
Yeah.
That's so sweet. What is your favorite tracks, each of you separately, and why?
Oh God.
I know it's a tough question to answer, but
I think I'll say Emergence. That's the opening of episode 3. It's the first time we're like fully in Terminator's brain. And we just really wanted it to feel like, oh, we're in a serial killer movie now. And
nice.
It was just a really fun one to score because I don't know, we used an arpeggiated synth that just like felt like it was matching like the Terminator's like heartbeat if he had one. And we took all of the same distorted string samples that we used in like Run in the beginning of that, but we slowed them down by like, I don't know, like 500%. There's just something insane so that you'd even hear like the digital glitches from slowing them down that much. And I don't know, it just felt like we were inside of his brain. So that was a really fun one to score.
Yeah. I think, oh God, I think for me, my favorite is It Will Never Be the Same, which is when it starts with Malcolm going through the city on his way to the office. And it's just this dark, depressing scene of this overpopulated city and people on their way to work and trying to function when this man knows that the end of the world might be coming. And so it's from his perspective, but you're just watching the city and it's raining and there's a dog causes a car accident and there's some robots walking around and it just feels completely foreboding. And then we ended up taking that melody line and that became part of the Terminator theme. And it's part of Malcolm's theme. It's part of just like the entire series. We just keep hearkening back to that melody line.
And it was fun because we got to use that cue again, I think at the end of episode 5. When we see the city again, except
episode 4 or
5.
End of the World.
No. We actually use the same exact. It'll never be the same. When I don't know. Can we do spoilers on here or like?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. When the Inus are finally like in control, like, right. And then we see the city from that same like way, and it's like kind of a good juxtaposition of like, oh, we're here now. Very different place. But that cue really had legs throughout the whole series. I think another favorite of mine was Choose.
Okay.
It happens right as God, another spoiler.
In episode 8.
Yes, it happens in episode
I don't know
8.
what to say about spoiler.
And it was this really pivotal moment. And we weren't really sure what we were going to do with it yet. But when we first started the project, Production IG wanted us to not only score episode 1, but was also just curious about other ideas we were coming up with so that maybe they could temp with it. So we created a whole other stack of music that some of which, we used throughout the show. But we had this one cue that we thought was going to be the Terminator theme. Or at one point, we thought it could be a contender. We didn't really know. And it ended up being Choose. And we were like, wow, we never used that anywhere. That feels so sad that like that never had a place. And we just like put it in. And I was like, oh, whoa. It was a very exciting moment where it just like, it had legs. We obviously added a bunch of other stuff to it. We added that like horn, raunchy synth sound that is the Terminator, all of these crazy string samples. And we also got to record the LCO for that cue, which like I remember when we were recording it live, it was like it was a very exciting moment because it was like, whoa, this has elevated this cue to like a totally new level.
And the voices are doing these, they're just sustaining these notes that are turning into these really dissonant harmonies. And there was a point where I remember you looked at me and you were like, is that right? And I was like, that's right. It's supposed to sound like this.
You're right.
And it elevates it so much. And that's what's interesting about that moment is it's the end of episode 8. It's close to the end of episode 8. And I'm not going to give too much away, but Kenta, the child, is in communication with the Terminator for the first time. They're actually having a conversation and you're learning about a whole new side of things. And it's a really good, if there is a season 2, this is a theme that it's definitely a choice for us to bring in, Choose. It was a choice for us to do this cue at the very end and bring in a whole new melody and a whole new cue in the last episode. I don't think that makes a whole lot of sense unless there is a season 2 and we can continue to flush this theme out throughout, because it is like where things are going. If they can, we can use this theme more.
Yes, 100%.
If you want to watch the full conversation of this clip, be sure to click here and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.